Hey Felicia, how's it going?
Hey, good.
Good. Okay, so I'm really excited to chat with you today. I'd love for you to start just by like letting people know what your business is, what you do, and even like share your website or your Instagram or whatever so people can find you.
Sure. My name's Felicia. I am a human design specialist and mindset coach, and the founder of By Felicia Baird Co.
Amazing. And is that your website?
It is byfeliciabaird.com.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I'm super excited because I know a lot of people ask me, like, is my business right for this? Or, I do something that's a little bit different. So I'd love to hear from you a little bit of, um, you know, background into where you were, before you joined MPQ, and then give us some of the details of where you're at now.
Yeah. So before I joined MPQ, I would say that my business was kind of non-existent. I didn't really have a solid plan. I had like an idea of what I wanted to do, but I felt like I wasn't putting the solid strategies towards getting there. I didn't have an email list. I think my website was like hardly used. I hadn't updated in like a year. And I had no idea how to even do Pinterest if I wanted to. And after MPQ, I certainly got like the consistencies that I needed in order to move forward. I hosted my first webinar. I think like 75 people came. I'm now like a Squarespace wizard. And I grew
I
my
don't teach,
podcast.
we don't even teach Squarespace in MPQ. This is just from her like putting in the work. I love it.
Yeah, I think like with MPQ, you coach people through all the tech, which is like,
Yeah,
I would say half the reason people don't even begin, because they're like, I can't even do this, nor can I afford someone to do it for me.
totally.
So I'm not even going to start, because if I don't have a website, then what's the point? So I think that having, a program that can help you feel confident and walk you through all of the things you need in order to put the tripwire up, in order to have like amazing copy. I've
Yeah,
definitely learned how to write copy a lot better since being in the program.
so true.
And also, when it comes back to consistency, like I think I was like willy-nilly with my podcast, and then I was able to grow my podcast pretty consistently from May to now being like in the top 200 podcasts in North America. So it's pretty cool.
And Europe.
And Europe, yeah. Don't forget about
She's
our friends on the other
international.
side of the pond.
I love that. Global entrepreneur. Um, yeah, that, I mean, honestly, that's so cool. And I love that one of the things that I love about, your journey is you really, throughout the program, you stayed so consistent and so willing to say, like, okay, I'm gonna like throw something out there, and then I would give you feedback and say, like, hey, this totally needs to change. I want you to show up more in this way. And I feel like the way that your messaging came across was, it did a complete 180. And now when I read your copy, I'm like, damn, this girl is good. She gets, like, it feels like you really understand like what your people, um, you know, crave now.
Yeah. And I think that too, in this online world, like if you don't have your blinders on, it can be kind of hard to like stay in your own lane, and like you think that like you're not doing something properly. But like when it comes back to like having a program that can like, what's the messaging, what are you doing here, I think that that's really helpful, because whenever I kind of get sidetracked into thinking like, oh, I'm not doing this right, or they're doing it better than me, then I'm able to come back and be like, nope, I'm doing it differently, this is my messaging, that's not my messaging. So it's good in
Yeah,
that
that's
way.
such a great point. Yeah, it is so easy, I think, especially for online entrepreneurs to get caught up in what other people are doing. And yeah, that's such a great point. Once you have your own unique point of view, so much easier to say, like, actually, that's just noise, and like where I'm going is different.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
cool. So cool. And so do you have any like, sexy numbers to share with us in terms of like your email list growth, or I know you've been taking a lot more sales calls now.
I have, yeah. So I my email list has grown. I'm not really great
Oh,
with
and
number talk.
okay, we
I'm
don't have to
only at,
talk numbers, but you know what? Something else you mentioned was Pinterest too. Talk to me a little bit about your Pinterest.
yeah. So honestly, a lot of my podcast growth has come from Pinterest, which is like the
Shut up.
coolest thing. So I now know how to actually make a graphic and put it on Tailwind. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of winning. Um, and it was really cool to watch my Pinterest numbers like go up and up and up. And then people would join my Facebook group and they'd be like, oh, I heard it from the podcast, which I know that they got it from Pinterest, because I'm just like, I don't even know who you are. So
Strangers.
it was really neat, like watching the correlation between Pinterest go up and then the podcast downloads go up. Like,
And the Facebook group, which is so cool too.
The Facebook group has gone up too. Like, admittedly, I don't know if you're putting this in there, but I've taken a couple people out because I'm just like, I want people to actually engage. Like before, when you make a Facebook group, you like invite everyone that you know. And now I'm just like, you can leave. Like, I don't want you here.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that's cool. But like once your business is, you're on the right path, you really know who's right for you and who's not. And you can feel confident saying, this is not the right fit for you. Be on your way. Whereas I find in the beginning, you're like, maybe I can make it work, and like every person is a lead. And then once you get more, then you're like, no, actually, I get to decide who I work with and like who's in my community. So
yeah,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah, I actually think Pinterest is one of the things that I rarely talk about when promoting MPQ, but it is such a massive part of my personal business growth, and so many people who go through MPQ. That Pinterest framework has been such a massive organic lead gen for so many people.
Mm-hmm. And it's just cool to like know the basics of how to do it. Like I don't even use Pinterest to like look at life stuff. Like I just don't use Pinterest. No. And so I'm just like, I think I'm the worst person ever to have to do this. So teaching yourself is really hard. Whereas like when you have someone giving you walkthroughs on how to do it, like just, it seems super easy actually.
Yeah, but it is a process for sure. So
I think another thing I wanted to point out about your program too, that it just hit me, was the branding part of it. Like coming up with like brand strategies too, like those things are so important, because when it comes back to me making something as simple as an Instagram post or like making something as simple as a Pinterest graphic, like knowing what colors to come back to saves so much time as well. Because like when I'm constantly trying to figure out what looks good, like, and then forgetting about the colors that I've created on my website, then I feel like those kind of things like add up to one bigger thing. So
it's for like brand clarity for sure. I think, I'm definitely a stickler for my own aesthetics, and I know a lot of the women who join are too. So it's nice to have that like clear, okay, this is me, this is my brand vibe. And your stuff is definitely like, you can tell when it's a by Felicia Baird post.
Oh, sweet. Thanks.
So I'd love to hear from you, like if anyone's watching this on the case study page, hey, and they're on the fence about joining MPQ, what would you tell people if they're like, don't know if it's right for them and are kind of deciding now?
Yeah, I would say that if you are on the fence about joining MPQ, it's definitely a program, the best business program that I've taken in terms of getting my butt in gear and thinking like an entrepreneur. I think that in terms of this online world, so much it's, made to seem like it should be so easy. And while it is, it's so good to have step-by-step programs to make you think about literally every single part that goes into making a business, in terms of growing it, in terms of how you want it to look, feel, in terms of who your audience is, and in terms of scaling in a way that's super quick. This is the program that kind of mashes everything all together in a 12-week program. So it's worth it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I think I definitely struggled with that when I first started my business too. All this messaging of like, it's so easy, I naturally, attracted 7 figures this year. And I was like, well, that's not the reality that I'm in right now. I'm running the business and it's not easy because I don't have processes. So I think, and I think a lot of us might feel like, am I doing something wrong if it's not easy? But it's just that we don't have the systems and like the tools to be able to make it feel a little bit more scalable and effortless.
And I think when you have a program like MPQ, it really helps you put your blinders on and just realize like stay in your own lane and doing your own thing. Because like when you have your messaging set, like it's pretty, you don't need to worry about what other people are doing.
Totally. Well, thank you so much, Felicia. I can't wait to see what else you create. And when your podcast is in top 100, keep us updated, because I'm sure it's any day now.
Thank you.
Thank you.